Actually, it's pronounced IGOR. It's the Going Off podcast with Rap Critic and Muse. Muse, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. We have no shortage of new releases, but we've got two that we're pretty confident in. We got some shit going on with ya boy Logic. We got fucking Moby being a creep.
Oh, I just saw that.
I might actually approve of Moby getting stomped by Obi. Call up your boy Obi Trice. See if he's doing anything. We all know he ain't.
Nah.
He's got a few minutes to spare for your boy Moby and his creepy ass.
I'm sure he can take the time if you told him the situation.
Your boys, the bad boys, the baddest, busiest boys.
The baddest, bittiest boys of podcast.
The baddest old biddies you ever did here. We've got two Patreon... Well, no, they're not.
We got two. Brand, take off the belt. Take off the belt and just spanking new albums.
We've talked about Duckwrth before. We reviewed a considerably older album. He's had releases out since that I was a very big fan of, and I thought those were actually an improvement on the Nowhere album that we reviewed on the podcast. But here he is again with his first, well, it's not even a full length, it's more or less an EP. I don't even think it's a half hour. The Falling Man, 8 tracks. Didn't really know what to expect from this because I haven't been following his singles, so it was kind of a surprise for me. What did you think of this release?
The first track was just like, okay, this is a short album, and going off of this first track, you would have think, like, did they just record half of the songs? You know, like, did they, like, with every song, did they just not finish them? Is that what happened? Like, was it like a fucking mistake? Because it's just like, you hear the first lyric, and it's fucking intense. You hear all this ominous music, and he's like, I just want to serve you. I wonder, are you satisfied? Blood runs down from my knees from bowing to your imagery. Like, all right, we're already into some fucking shit. Like, here we fucking go. And then it's just like, yeah, shit's about to get real extreme. That boy ain't nothing but trouble. Oh shit, next track. And it's just like, what? And it wasn't even like in an intro way of like, you know, this is something short. It's just like, it just really feels like you started a song and just didn't finish it. But then we get Fall Back, which immediately goes into everything that I was telling you about that I really like about him. And it's just like, okay, all right, good. Okay, fall back, Rap Critic, you good.
I liked that track a lot. I really liked the flow. I wasn't wild about the lyrics, but I really liked the beat. The Fall Back, I thought that was really dope.
Yeah.
Lyrically, Bow is like a slap in the face, but I didn't really get a lot of that throughout the album so much.
Yeah, I will say there was a feeling of like, there were a lot more hype tracks than I was expecting, where it was just kind of like, oh, all right, no, we don't have to go anywhere, but it was just like, there were 1 or 2 songs where you really did, and it was like, oh, okay, you know, like, I expected more from Love is a Mosh Pit.
Oh my god.
Okay, are you agreeing with me?
I hated that chorus.
Yeah, exactly, yeah, where it was just like, oh, really?
Bleh, 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 Love is a Mosh Pit, bleh, bleh, like, ew. Who wants this?
It felt like...
Bleh,
like,
bleh, bleh, Love is a Mosh Pit, bleh, bleh, bleh. I kind of had high expectations for Duckwrth. Like, he's kind of like an outlier. He's a bit more, you know, a bit more in your face than most. And then we even got Rico Nasty doing a feature on Love is a Mosh Pit, who kind of has that same reputation.
Yeah.
And then we just get a flat, uninteresting verse, and it's like, you could
so
have had
right.
anyone do this shit.
Definitely. And the thing is, like, it starts off with a kind of dope lyric. Screaming and fighting. Every day I'm like, we've already been down this road. You keep telling me not to leave, but you don't give me a place to go. Like, that's when you just, like, think about it for a second. It's like, oh, okay. And then the rest of it just sort of loses all momentum. Like, I don't know what happens. It's just kind of like, it's just hard to explain. Like, it just feels like something more should have happened. Not only did it go, like, the opposite way, because that could happen, but it was just like, it just didn't do much with it.
His own biggest hype man, Duckwrth, has spent this past week. Lizzo did the exact same thing, where the album comes out, and for the next week, all their Twitter are retweeting people saying how great the album is. Oh man, blah 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 is my favorite track. This is my favorite album of the year so far.
I think Nicki did the same thing, actually, when her last album came out.
Wow, see, the thing there, though, is Lizzo and Duckwrth are, like, kind of indie, kind of on the come-up. not considered at one time the best rapper in the industry? That you kind of feel like you have to keep fucking pumping yourself up. Both Duckwrth and Lizzo just fucking snapped back at critics and was like, ooh, alright. But one song I saw people talking about was King King.
I love that fucking song. Dude, King.
That fucking chorus, that shit sucks, dude.
Oh, man. See, I think it really is. It's just like, that's one of those, you just have to, you're either in that vibe or you're not.
I really thought the verse was solid, but I was not here for King. Like, oh my god, really?
King.
Yeah, King. Fuck out of here.
If you play Tekken and you have a certain favorite character, you know, you got your theme song is all I'm saying.
It's right up your alley. No, I really liked his, like, spelling out the N-word, like the stylistic way he was doing that shit. I thought that fucking verse was great, but then just, ooh, like the fucking chorus takes me out of it.
Buzzing like, but I am humbly honored that you slap my music comfortably. But really, my N-I-double-G, I could give two fucks about who fuck with me. Insecure, really, I'm lying out my fucking teeth. If you don't play my words and beats, then I don't eat. Like, I love those little moments of just like, okay, but if I can be real with y'all, though. This is the part that made me love it, where he says, bust down on the rollie? No, bust down my crown.
Oh, yeah.
Come on.
The second verse in Fall Back ends in such a fucking, like, creative, different way where it just kind of stops, and then you hear a voice go, oh, wait, oh, it just goes out like that? Haha, nah. And then it just comes back like, haha, no. Like the fucking fake out ending, the fucking Aladdin made you look shit.
Yeah, exactly.
I was like, oh, okay, that's pretty dope.
I think it comes back later, too, doesn't he? There's another track where it's just like, oh, shit, you motherfuckers are telling me you got this motherfucking track going, like... Like the dude's just describing how dope the track is.
Nobody Falls, I thought that track was nice. I thought it sounded real nice. The beat was fun.
The part right before the hook where he goes like, she said, nigga, fuck me sleazy, all that niceness kinda cheesy. She don't like it, plus she vegan. Wintertime, cuffing season, handcuffs, lips, and teasing. Don't nobody wanna fall. And then you hear, like, the music cuts off and you hear, like, the sound of someone, like, about to fall. You hear, like,
Yeah.
That was incredible. I was like, all right, you win.
Another track I didn't like that much was Soprano. I thought it was a fucking mess. Like, the chorus sucked, and the verses were just kind of all over the place. Like, I thought the beat was okay.
I got that Denzel Curry feeling of, like, you're a good rapper, was it? Really? Is that all you brought here?
Yeah, Soprano and Love Like a Mosh Pit were the two tracks, and the last track. I wasn't wild about the last track either.
Wildfire.
I liked Wildfire.
Especially Sally Mae was one where, at first I liked it because there was, like, the idea of, you know, fuck Sally Mae, I ain't paying, and he's, like, driving over the interstate because, you know, the police are trying to, you know, come collect. And, like, that was a cool imagery in putting it in there, but yeah, it didn't feel like much was done with it. Like, the verses didn't really, like, give you a story, you know what I mean? What's a Duckwrth to you?
I gave this a solid 3.
I gave it a 4, actually.
I can't do that. I cannot do that. Some of the songs were pretty good, but not solid enough that I'm going to be revisiting.
The last 3... Yeah, the last 4. Oh man! All right. So the last half of the
album. That's half the album.
Yeah. I just looked back. I was like, oh man, but Nobody Falls is so fucking good. I think Nobody Falls in King just really fucking hit for me.
My two favorites are Fallback and Nobody Falls. King, if it wasn't for that chorus, it'd be the third joint. And if Bow was a little longer,
exactly,
that would have been right up there too. But kind of let down. And speaking about people being kinda let down, let's slide on over to your boy, Tyler, the creator, with his new album, IGOR. And, it's a bit divisive, I've seen. People don't really know what to make of it. Is it trash? Is it pretty good?
What's going on? This not the one, but I forgot how that Fuji's lyric goes.
I'll fucking put it in editing. So, once and for all, leave the hard work to us. If we must, if this must be our burden to bear, the atlas of the music reviewing on YouTube and Spotify community.
Let the trumpet sound.
We're the Men in Black, we're the Ghostbusters when there's no one else to call. You call on the Going Off podcast and we right the wrongs. Darren, I gotta throw it over to you first, my dude. What did you think? Because I remember, and I hate to remind people, because I remember you soured the people a little bit.
Uh-oh.
With not being over the moon about Scumfuck Flower Boy. That this being the follow-up, I'm curious. What did you think of Igor?
As someone who has always been quite critical of your boy Tyler, the Creator, you know, even though I see like Cherry Bomb, because I remember giving Cherry Bomb some credit. I remember giving Flower Boy the credit. I just didn't remember it being like, but is it on that level? You know what I'm saying? So I go into this album and I hear Igor's theme, the blare going on, man. And then I hear, riding around town, they gon' feel this one. Riding around town, they gon' feel this one. And I'm like, uh-oh. I think I'm riding around town, and I think I'm feeling this one. Yo! And then I see it was Lil Uzi Vert that did that. Yo! I was like, wait a minute. Play that fucking clip. Wait a minute! Is this kind of slapping right now? Like, yo! And then as it just builds up, you hear Solange and Tyler starts singing along, and it's just like, yo, I'm fucking feeling this shit.
Dude, everybody is on this goddamn album. Your girl, Santa Gold, fucking making an appearance. Your boy, Pharrell, making an appearance.
Oh my god!
This is a who's who. This was the fucking Met Gala of hip-hop. Now, as a dude, I'm asking you, who's also very critical about lyrics.
Okay.
How did this album strike you in that regard? Because I don't think there is any debate that this album slaps unmercilessly.
Okay, yes. Jesus. The fucking pristine. Yo, there was stuff happening in the production of this fucking music. Like in production, especially like what they do with voice as well. Like there's certain things where it just sounds like it's off on purpose. And Tyler's always been kind of doing that, right? The sort of like, this sounds kind of fucked up on purpose. But he fucking masters it here. It happens in ways that just like, they really stick out. And it's like, it's interesting instead of clouded and sort of like, you know what I mean? Like that's always been my sort of opposition before. It's just like, I hear good stuff, but it's just like, it feels like you're doing stuff to fuck with it and not letting it breathe. And boy, does he fucking let his artistic musical shit here fucking breathe. Earthquake? What? Jesus. The only thing I don't like about that song is your boy Playboy Cardi. What was up with that? I couldn't even hear what the fuck he was saying.
Oh, dude, I could not make out what the hell he was saying.
When I first heard it, I was like, oh, is he doing like on Cherry Bomb again, where it's just like, I'm not supposed to hear what he's saying? And it's just like, no, I just think Playboy Cardi's not that good of a rapper. He's just not enunciating. Like, he's like, we on Baldy Road. I'm like, what? You didn't say half of the letters in that sentence.
You fucking got Tyler and Charlie Wilson singing their goddamn hearts out. You don't need fucking Playboy Cardi ruining this shit.
Yeah. And so early on the album, I was like, what the fuck? Because like I said, it sounds like Tyler, the Creator's alternate world version of fucking Thriller. That's what this fucking album sounds like. As you're listening to the wonderful music. And then you're just like, who the fuck is mumbling in the background? And even if you listen to the lyrics, he's still not saying anything important.
No!
Like, is she wicked? Like, whoa, Vicky? Oh my god, diamonds, not Tiffany? What?
Look, this album, it's what Duckwrth's album was missing. This album had a very clear message, very clear subject matter that kind of goes through the whole album. And when you got Playboy Cardi confusing the message like that, like
Exactly.
you said, this early in the album, it's definitely to its detriment. But also, if you ask me, to its detriment, while this album does have a solid message and a solid story throughout, I don't think it's strong enough to carry a whole album like this. Like,
Okay,
you've got 3 or 4 songs basically saying the exact same thing lyrics-wise. I was, like you, blown away. Blown out of the fucking water by the music, the instrumentation, the instrumentals, the beats, the production. Flawless. He was not really bringing the bars on this album, though.
Definitely not. This is his Love Below, right? Like, there's like 3 tracks where he raps. My biggest issue with Tyler, honestly, is his flow. Like, it's that very sort of accenting the bad syllables, but on purpose. But it's like, there are some times where he does it and it's clever. The idea of like, you expect someone to say a word like this and I fucked it up. But there's other times where it's just like, it just obviously sounds like you're just rushing in the words there. It's like, that didn't sound stylistic. That just sounded cluttered. And so like the times where he really raps, it's just like, it sounds like that. And it's just like, I want to be on board with you, but what? Okay, you know, and I hated that I felt that way because, like I said, again, musically, I feel like musically this album is stellar. Production wise, like in the sense of like how he makes the tracks sound in that very like it sounds very, you know, jazzy R&B on that level, like neo soul, but it's twisted to this left angle of like it's been mangled in this VCR player or something like that. So there's lots of little pops and stuff happening in the percussion, and there's lots of little things like I noted specifically. There's a lyric: "You give me an earthquake, round and round, your love is shaking me up, and it's making my heart break." Like there's a little in there that happens when he says shaking, and I was just like, ooh, that was fucking, like, that's cool, you know?
I really like the way this album sounds throwback and modern at the same time, and his fucking, he does it a lot, and it kind of gets samey, but I like how it sounds. His fucking,
Yeah, it's that. This album sounds like this stellar production, and then you hear the guy singing, and it's like someone who's like not really ready for the big time yet, and he's just like, "Oh, I didn't think you guys were actually listening. I was just kind of singing," you know. But there's something kind of endearing about that in a lot of points, and it was just like, huh. Like, I was enjoying it in a way that I wasn't enjoying it before. And then I listened to the lyrics, and I think it kind of changes perspectives. It was either Boy is a Gun or New Magic Wand. New Magic Wand, that was it. There was a thing of him coming out, right? And I remember, like, talking about it, like, it feels like he never really, like, you know, I don't know. It just feels like it was just kind of a thing that just got left out. You know what I mean? But then on this album, it's addressed in such a brilliant way, in the sense of like, it starts off, you hear the lyrics and he sounds like he's talking to a girl, and it's just like, you hear the "don't leave." That shit hits you fucking hard when you hear that. "It's my fault." It's just like, that shit hurts you so hard. But it's like, but he keeps saying "girl," and I was just like, oh, as you listen to this album, there's this sort of uncovering of like, oh, he's in this relationship with this girl, and he doesn't want to feel like a jerk by like leaving her, but I think it's handled in such a cool way that doesn't feel like it's so upfront. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what I like about the way the story's told. It doesn't feel as upfront until you like start to pay attention later on to the album. It's like, oh wait, this isn't just like, oh, it's a song about a girl. This is about him dealing with okay. And by the time you get to New Magic Wand, that's the one where it feels like it's from the lover who's outside, from their perspective, who's just like, I just want to get her out of the fucking picture, no matter what. And like I said, he incorporates the horror element in this song, which, I usually have a problem with, but as soon as I thought about it for a second, I was like, well, if it's from that other perspective, it's like, yeah, of course. It's like, I wish I could make this fucking bitch disappear so we could just be happy already. And, as he goes on later in the song, he's just like, I got a new magic wand. And of course, you can kind of tell going on that like he's talking about a gun. And it's just like, if you don't want to get with me, then, I'll fucking make both of you disappear. And it's like, okay, I got that thematically in the album. You know what I'm saying? It felt earned. Like the horrorcore element really felt earned here. And then I remember looking at the album cover and I really thought it was really cool. And this is called Igor. And he kind of looks like Frankenstein, but he literally looks like he's lit in a 1920s movie. You know what I mean? But then the album's called Igor, and I remember thinking the thing about Igor is that he's a side character that I don't remember kind of what he looks like. I'm immediately thinking of Frankenstein's monster. You know what I mean? And then I thought about it. It's like, what is Igor? He is the lackey who just does whatever, Frankenstein says, right? He just, you don't even think about who he is as a character. And I remember thinking well, holy shit, that's what this character must feel like. As it was unfolding, I was really digging what was happening, how the character was developing, how he was using his elements that I've heard before, the horrorcore, the smooth stuff, but with the little gritty edge. A Boy is a Gun, the way this fucking chorus goes, the fucking double meaning of it, holy shit. I could not fucking front. You started with a mere hello, and then you hear the, a boy is a gun, and then you hear the, no, don't shoot me down, and it's just like, oh shit, as the song develops, you start hearing, it's like, why is a boy a gun? I don't understand, it's like, oh, don't shoot me down, because my feelings, oh, shit, and the metaphor directly works, because you're thinking about that, and you're just like, okay, I got you, bro, I got you, because, at first, you just immediately are thinking of, don't shoot me down, it's just a gun. He talks about, in my hood, Trayvon or something like that, and you're thinking, oh, is this gonna be a political song? And then it just fucking flips on you in a way that's just like, oh, shit, Oh, what does he say later on? Yeah, in the background, as the chorus is going on, he's just like, you can hear him if you listen, he's like, you're a gun, because I like you on my side at all times, and you keep me safe, and wait, and you hear the music kind of cut, because there's this flip, and he's like, well, depending on, you could also be dangerous to me, or anyone else, and it was just like, oh shit, that's so fucking cool, the way you, the idea of a gun and someone that you love is just like, holy fuck.
I think the only song on this album I didn't care for was I Don't Love You Anymore, which I gave the lowest rating because I thought it was just kinda awkward.
This is his Lemonade in a way, right? This is his, I'm over it. I've gotten to my point where, I'm gonna go my way. I walk around with my head down like I got beat up. You do you, I'll do me. Just chuck the piece up. I ain't trying to keep up because, and then you hear the cut in of the sample and it's just like, I don't love you anymore. And it sounds very sort of shouted as if it's just it sounds silly at first, but in a way it feels like that sort of I just need to say that. And then afterwards you hear the, whoa. And it kind of sounds like, oh wait, shit, I just said that. And I think I mean it. You know what I mean? That's how I kind of felt as I was listening to it,
That gives it more depth, because on the surface, I thought that was so annoying, that sample.
It just felt kind of silly,
right? It was
right?
so awkward. Yeah.
Yeah. But, I was like, I think that's the point, It's that sort of I kind of enjoyed Puppet until, around the time Kanye West started doing stuff, but...
I liked Kanye on that song. I thought that sounded really cool. I didn't mind that. The only problem I had with the song is that it really wasn't very substantial. It just kind of felt like there was just kind of was there.
It's a story of them just hanging out, and it doesn't really go anywhere. But I did like the cleverness of him saying, in the first verse where he says, I want to talk, I want to call you and talk, I want to walk to your front door and knock. And a bit of an awkward rhyme, but drive to your city because we live an hour apart. Again, he says, land at your driveway and put it in park. Then do the third line of this verse. And by him saying that, he's referring to the third line where he says, I want to walk to your front door and knock. Literally saying so I drove up here and did the thing that I said I did in that third line. It's I thought that was a little clever, but yeah, overall it didn't feel substantial enough of a story compared to what everything else was going on. But again, it's when he raps and feels like he has to, I don't know, maybe when he just has less words to use, he uses them better. But yeah, it feels like when he's rapping, it's just overfilling stuff and it doesn't flow as well. I'm getting the point, right, of this person who's I don't know, I guess being super rich and, wanting to be with someone all the time and you're I'll give you anything you need, just be with me, there's that same sense of loneliness and longing that you especially heard on Flower Boy.
Overall, my problems are like you said, like, yeah, the songs all go together. There's an underlying narrative. I don't think it has enough substance or detail. It's a love triangle with one guy who wants to be with another guy, but the second guy is in a relationship with a woman that he can't get out of. And it's like, okay, that might be enough to cover 1 or 2 songs, but not really the whole album, because he doesn't really go in depth with it. He just kind of repeats a lot of the same thoughts, just kind of overall messages.
It's when you get to Puppet and What's Good, where I think that shift actually really kicks in, where, you know, Kanye, I think, is it Kanye actually? Maybe I did like that part where he says breathe on a song. And then later on, I think it's actually the next track, you actually hear like, you know, things are kind of really low and understated, and you hear what sounds like someone like really trying to breathe. I was just like, oh shit.
What's Good was so fucking good. And I don't know who Slow Tie is. He kills. A couple of names of people who pop up on this thing. Like you had mentioned, Kanye. Fucking CeeLo Green on Gone Gone and Thank You.
Oh my god. Absolutely incredible.
It's a little hard to tell who is popping up on here because they do the same thing with Pharrell and CeeLo. They do the pitch shift. That it almost just kind of sounds like Tyler when he does the pitch shift because it's hard to tell them apart.
Well, see, I think Tyler changed his voice a little bit to try to match with CeeLo's. Because when you hear CeeLo's, it sounds more natural, but when you hear his, you go like, hey, wait a minute, he does sound a little different.
I think my biggest problem with the narrative and the story is that it does get a little confusing if you're switching perspectives.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really make that clear. I wrote this down, that is the quintessential, I don't know really what's going on, but it sounds dope, so I don't care. Man, I wish you would call me Skate. By your name, because I'm sorry. 4. This is not apology. Skate. You are such a distraction. 4. Mess with T on off. Skate. Fucking up my ambience. Pause. You drive me cuckoo and I cough, cause I want you like Leon Ware. It's like, alright, that didn't really rhyme. I don't know what, you drive me cuckoo and I cough, but the way you were doing it so fast, it sounded cool, so I don't really care. You know, like, I feel like this is the perfect album for just, like, if you're driving around and you're not really listening too close to the lyrics.
You hear the call me by your name reference, and it's just like, oh, I get what he's doing there. But it's just like, but everything else around it doesn't really, again, doesn't, like, flow as well. You know what I mean?
My first listen through was just doing that, driving around, listening to it, and I was like, wow, this album is incredible. But it hurt a little when I went through Genius and read along, and I was like, these lyrics aren't really all that great. And it kind of takes away from it, unfortunately. Are We Still Friends? I thought that track was a great way to end it. Very chill, laid back, sweet and subdued, but it also kind of got epic at times. It's a bit repetitive, which is a problem I have with a few songs on here. It's like, A Boy Is a Gun, I think repeats a bit too much. Repeats that chorus. If you're not really paying the closest of attention to lyrical content and all that, it just sounds great. Ultimately, though, what was your final rating for this album?
Yo. Move over, Kendrick. Make way, Kanye West. Pull the chair for him, Uzi Vert, and tuck in your shirt, for God's sakes. Your boy, Tyler, is now a beautiful flower man. I have to give your boy the coveted solid 5 stars, bro.
Wow.
Yeah, there were the flaws there. I will not discount that. But holy shit, did, like, the creativity really shine through for me. Like, I feel like I thought it was dope, man. I thought it was fucking dope.
You're gonna hate me. The comments are gonna hate me.
Oh, have the tables turned?
A little bit, yeah. Not by too much, but
oh,
yeah.
Okay.
I got a 3.5.
Okay.
It's not the worst. It's not bad.
I can see the flaws of the album being an issue. That's how I feel when I hear you say that. You know what I mean?
There's really strong moments on this album. More production than lyrics. It's just really not saying too much of anything particularly interesting or clever. I definitely get that he's coming from a very personal and honest place from this. Like, that comes across clear as a bell. And And there's really beautiful moments on here musically. Like, I didn't mention it, but on I Think, at the end of the song where it has this, like, kind of grimy electric keyboard that just kind of transitions to, like, this sweet, clean piano sound. It's like, that's really nice. Like, I like moments like that. I think if you fucking took the best songs from Igor and the best songs from Scumfuck Flower Boy, you'd get, like, a fucking 10 out of 10. Like, a fucking 10 out of 5, even. Because it just fucking... It would stomp. But, yeah, I just couldn't do it. I couldn't give it the 5. But I do... I know! The tables have effectively turned. I can't do a damn thing about it. What do you know? What can you do? What can you say? Other than that about wraps it up for this week's episode of the Going Off Podcast. Big thanks for everyone checking us out this week. If this is your first time checking us out by chance, good news, everyone. All of our old episodes are on SoundCloud, iTunes, and Spotify. Just search Going Off Podcast. That's GOIN apostrophe off podcast. You can hear all of our old episodes on there.
And I will definitely be playing both of these albums this Sunday when this episode premieres, because, oh my god.
Follow us on Twitter. Subscribe to our respective YouTubes for more content outside of the podcast realm. And until next week, for the Going Off Podcast, I'm Muse.
And I'm the Rap Critic. And then the little fish spoke as it broke away. It said no limits, but no with a K.